Hello, everyone. Welcome to Training Tuesday. This is Heidi here with the Dayton Superior Training Department. We're so glad that you've called in to today's training. And like usual, I would just want to talk to you about a couple of items. Everybody that has signed in has been muted so that there aren't any disturbances on the line and we can all listen in and learn from our presenter. Please feel free to go ahead throughout the presentation and provide any questions that you have for us. We'll definitely have a question and answer, a mini one at the end. In addition, though, you can do that throughout. Do it through the Zoom chat functionality. Each of our webinars are recorded so that you can listen to them later on or push them to someone who maybe couldn't make it. And yeah, that's always something great. All of the past ones are on DaytonSuperior.com. Just search on Training Tuesday in the search field and you can get there, as well as register for the next one. So as you see on the screen right now, just a note that this presentation is intended for training purposes only. For any technical specifications and the products that are mentioned within the training, please look at DaytonSuperior.com to find that information. So who is Dayton Superior? For those of you who may not know, and I hope all of you on the phone do, but we are the leading provider of engineered solutions for the concrete construction industry. So today we're going to be talking about precast, so that's one of our accessories, but we also have tilt-up, we also have splicing, chemicals that go with it, the Simon's forming line of the business, engineering obviously, and then training as you're taking part in for this Training Tuesday. And we also have other training capabilities that if you need something, contact Chuck and myself at training@DaytonSuperior.com and we can make that happen for you. Okay, so today we will be talking to a member of the Precast group to give a high level of the understanding of precast lifting inserts. Later on in the year, we're going to go into a deeper dive on these, but today we want to give you a holistic view of everything that we have for them. And since it's Precast Month, thought it'd be a great time to do this. So our presenter is one of our fine precast technical sales representatives for Dayton Superior. Taylor Blankenship has been with Dayton Superior for over 10 years, beginning as an area sales representative, then moving to a dealer sales manager. And as I mentioned, he's a technical sales role right now in the precast market. He has a degree from the Ohio State University, where he belonged to the Professional Business Fraternity. He is also part of the Precast Pre-Stressed Concrete Institute and plays roles in and follows the Minnesota chapter of International Concrete Repair Institute, American Concrete Institute, and National Concrete Association and Concrete Reinforcing Steel. Wow, that's a mouthful. What is that? ERSI? Thank you, Chuck. Oh, by the way, Chuck Hoke's here with me. So he works with our customers and he helps to solve their precasting technical needs for his region. So with that, I'm going to allow him to take it from there.
Thank you, Heidi. As she stated, I'm Taylor Blankenship. I cover precast products for the East Coast of the US. And as she mentioned also, today we're just doing a kind of a bird's eye view, a broad generalization of the precast lifting inserts that we have here, 101 class. So hopefully some of those here that are new to precast in general will get a better understanding of the general points of each of our systems. And as she also mentioned, we'll get into the nuts and bolts and maybe some deep dives on these systems in particular a little later in the year. So let's see, I got the mouse. So in general, precast is kind of broken up into two types. We have wet cast and dry cast, and this is referring to the state of the concrete, how that concrete is mixed, the design of the batch. Wet cast, this first type here, is a flowable form of concrete, which has a higher water percentage in the mix. And as you can see, it comes out of a mixer truck or a hopper here. And this is used primarily for pieces that are a little more complex, have more reinforcement. The liquid concrete is able to consolidate around inserts, reinforcement, get into any general shapes that precast product is made out of. Normally it's cast into a form and stripped. Here you can see a wall panel being finished at the end of a day after the pour. And a maximum of 2 pours per day is possible, although that requires a specific design for the mix, the concrete. what you'll see primarily is, you come in the morning, you'll remove yesterday's pour, put your placed reinforcement inserts, embeds, and then do your pour for that day to allow it to cure overnight. Dry cast is the other type. As you can see here, precast pipe is a big proponent of the dry cast industry. This is going to have a lower water percentage in the mix, and it sets up in a way similar to hard clay, where rather than just being limited to 2 pours per day for a panel or a double T or something of that nature, these vibrating machines can get these dry cast pipes out in a matter of minutes rather than a matter of days. So for products that are in general over and over, same design, same spec, dry cast is a great option. Wet cast is where you're going to see the primary Dayton inserts, or the vast majority of our inserts, although dry cast can make use of some of these inserts as well. Now, what we're doing in precast is often in the architectural side of things. These are wall panels with a little more intricacy. You can see this is perfect for wet cast, where each of these panels is designed in particular. We also get into infrastructure items. Here you've got seawall, underground trench, bridge segments, box culverts. Then you're also going to see a lot of our products in utility precast. As you can see here, anything going underground, larger pipe, as well as modular structures like restrooms for parks, storm shelters, things of that nature. So those are some of the products that you're going to see our products go into. In terms of safety factors, there's a lot of overseeing bodies that have a stake in the safety of implementing some of this lifting hardware and these precast anchors. The high note to take away from this today is most of our precast inserts are rated at a factor of safety of 4 to 1. And you can see here that's due to them being used more than one time. If you think of a precast product, you're going to be lifting it multiple times. You're going to take it out of the bed originally, most likely transport it to your yard for storage. You're then going to load it onto a truck, unload it on the site, and then place in its final resting place. So that factor of safety of 4 to 1 gives a little bit more of a buffer for repeated use of that insert. Safety factor of 2 to 1 is used for inserts that are used only once. You're going to see this primarily in tilt up, where let's say a wall panel is being poured on a slab. And when you engage those lifting inserts, you're simply raising it off the slab to place it in its final resting place. Permanent fasteners are rated at 3 to 1. That's going to be similar to things like our ferrule inserts. They're holding up HVAC and piping, things along those lines. Our first system here that I'd like to touch base on is our coil inserts. As you can see here in the top section, there's a wide variety of designs for this portion. The coil insert can go anything from a standard loop to an expanded coil. There are some designs specifically for lifting panels, thin slabs. To round out the system, you're going to be using a thread of some kind, whether that's a coil rod cut to the length in the field or a coil bolt made by Dayton Superior. We also offer nuts and heavy duty nuts that will help engage with that insert. Now, in between that coil bolt, let's say we've got the lifting hardware itself that's going to attach to your crane or lifting device. Again, we have a wide variety of things that can engage here. Everything from eye nuts and eye bolts, wire ropes, and various angles, as well as swivel lift plates. So depending on what you're creating, in your plant or out in the field, there's going to be a combination here that's going to be almost purpose-built for what you're looking at. With the wide variety, you're going to find something that's going to work for your application. Now, the coil thread itself is kind of a fast install. It's a wide pitched thread that allows you to quickly thread things in, as well as not have to worry too much about cleaning those threads. It's not going to bind up on you just because it is so widely pitched, and that's great for field applications and lifting, bracing, things along those lines. Similarly, our ferrule inserts are also threaded inserts that we offer. These ferrules here, you can see some of them look almost identical outside of the ferrule cap. These ferrule inserts use an NC thread, which is a much finer thread. It's a parallel thread that's standard to the industry. And these are used for permanent connections. So whereas the coil is designed more for lifting and bracing in a temporary fashion, This is going to be for your piping, lighting, things like that that are designed to be permanent installations. The finer thread on these prevents them from backing out over time due to any vibration. So they're purpose-built for that purpose. Now, the first quick connect system I'd like to talk about today is our Swift Lift. This is one of the first quick connect systems on the market. It was, as you can see here, since the 1970s, this has been around. So it should be familiar to many of you that have been around Precast. It uses a non-welded hot forged anchor. It's got the 4-to-1 safety factor that we talked about. The hardware itself is 5-to-1. That offers a buffer of safety where when you're designing your product, the lifting hardware doesn't necessarily need to come into it. You're more looking at the safety factors and capacities of the inserts and the concrete surrounding it. We offer them in a number of tonnages, so it can be tailored to your particular application. Offers a lot of flexibility in that regard. You see this product primarily in utility and heavy civil stuff. So I'll kind of show you the system here. This one is pretty simple. We really just have a few options for lifting hardware here on the left and the insert here on the right. The lifting hardware is designed specifically for this system, so you would need to use this particular lifting hardware for these inserts. The insert on the right, you'll often hear these referred to as dog bones in the market. You can see it does resemble that shape. The head of the anchor will have the load rating. You'll have varying lengths of the shaft there, and then the expanded foot that provides the capacity. We do offer some eyed F50 or P53s that will take use of a tension bar for thin panel applications. But for today, we'll just kind of focus on this P52. So here's some standard loading charts. This is similar to the charts you'll find in our handbook, which are great resources for any of these inserts. If you have questions or trying to tailor an insert to your particular application, you can see in the left column here, we've got the various tonnages broken down with their particular lengths. We have safe working load at various concrete PSIs, and then we have minimum edge distances listed out. So as you look in the middle 3 columns here, you'll see the capacities, which are a function of the length of the insert, so the concrete embedment, the concrete strength, and then those edge distances all work as a function together to provide you with a safe working load. Here's some of the surrounding hardware. Our P56PL is our recess void. What this does is allow you to attach your insert to your formwork, and after that pour, after the concrete is cured and you're ready to engage the lifting insert, you could remove this recess void to then access the head of the insert to attach your lifting hardware. You can see the void recess former here with a backing plate and a threaded holding rod. This will allow you to go through steel formwork or job built formwork and make sure that your insert isn't floating around on you when you're doing your liquid pour. It is specific to the tonnages, so there isn't a universal fit here, but it is easy enough to match these up with the dog bones that you have on hand. They're red, and they are a pliable urethane, which allows you to use them many times if taken care of, and I think sunlight is really the big player to break these down. It's good, has good resistance to tearing, heat, and chemicals, so as mentioned, if you take care of these things, clean them off after each use, they should last you quite a while. Second system we'd like to touch on here is our Fleet Lift. You're going to find this more in architectural precast products. It's pre-engineered. What we mean by that is that each of these inserts here is specifically designed for an application. They're very easy to install. The lifting hardware is a quick connect disconnect, and there's no cables to cut. Multiple tonnages similar to our P52 system, the Swift Lift, and our lifting clutches do cover a category. You can see 1 to 3 ton, 4 to 6 ton, and 8 to 12 ton to keep you from having to buy a different, I guess, lifting hardware for each tonnage. They each cover a range. So here's some of our popular erection-headed anchors. You can see they're kind of laying down on their sides as you would see them in a panel. These are designed for edge lifting primarily. And what we mean by erection head is if you look on the right side of these 4 inserts on the left, there's a middle hole there in the head that engages with the lifting hardware. And on each side of that hole, there are two ears, the squared off ears that poke out. What this does is when you're in the side of your architectural precast panel, let's say, as you tilt it up, the force is going, up to the top of this slide here with the lifting hardware. Those ears prevent the lifting hardware itself from binding up or engaging with the concrete surrounding the recess. And that's very important just to make sure that you're not spalling out any of that concrete. You're not causing aesthetic damage. You're not causing any structural damage there that would lead to potentially a pullout. Those ears bear the initial force of that lifting hardware there. On the right, you can see kind of the squared inserts. These are specifically designed for insulated panels. So you have your middle hole there for the lifting hardware, and then holes for tension bars to go on either side of your insulation within the panel. Here are a few of our non-erection head anchor types. You can see that they're missing the ears because these are more designed to be in the back of the panel for back stripping or in a slab of some sort, where you're really just keeping these in 90-degree tension just to lift up and down without having to tilt. There's a wide variety of these as well for different applications. So each one of these could fit what you're looking for. Now in the fleet lift system, we do offer two material types. The older design has been around in the market for quite some time. These are stamped and welded inserts. You can see they come out of a flat stock of stamped steel, and then any plates are welded. We also offer the new design, which is a forged material. This is unibody, so there aren't any welds to be concerned with as a failure point. And just as a general note, there are some benefits to forged material in general. There's higher strengths, first of all, as well as a general resistance to rusting compared to a stamped steel uncoated insert. There's also less concern with low temperature and brittlement. It's just a little bit better in those regards in comparison to the older stamped stuff. We do offer both in galvanized though, so if rusting is your concern, I think you're covered on both sides so long as you get it coated. Now, some of the supporting hardware in terms of recess members for our fleet lift system, they come in various finishes here. We have cast iron, which you can see on the left. That's great for harsh environments, high temperature, corrosive materials, things like that. These last quite a while. They make use of a steel wedge to engage and hold that insert, as well as a piece of foam just to keep concrete from seeping into that gap when that insert is in the placement process. We also offer in the middle, top right there, our disposable system. It's a 3-piece system that provides the recess. It comes with a lid and a clip there to keep the insert seated and concrete from entering. Finally, in the top right, we have our urethane version, and this is going to be reusable for quite a few times, maybe not as many as the steel, but it is a 1-piece design where you have the urethane body surrounding that stainless steel pin that's going to engage the insert. And that urethane plastic you can see in the bottom right is a typical application there where it's attached to your formwork with a backing plate and a holding rod. We also offer magnetic versions if you have steel forms. Just ask us about that if interested. Now we'll get into our utility system. This is going to be, as the name implies, much more for utility precast, be that larger pipe or box culverts. We offer recess plugs similar to the other systems, holding plates, etc., and also magnetic setting plates as well. Now, one thing that sets this apart, the utility anchor group from the Swift lift and the fleet lift we mentioned, is that there isn't any proprietary lifting clutch that's needed. This offers quite a few benefits. As a precaster, I know some don't like lending out their relatively expensive hardware. They end up growing legs and walking off on you or coming back damaged. So this allows placement crews or some, erectors even to place these concrete elements without having to have that handoff. You can use a standard hook, as we'll show here. So a hook or shackle will go in just like that. Here's another one of our charts from our handbook. All I'm going to point out here to you guys is just for this utility anchor group, we offer 4, 5, and 6 UAs. That refers to the minimum panel thickness. As you can see, there's 2 versions of each. That first number is referring to that panel thickness number. And after the UA, you can see we have a 444 and 671 version. That refers to the diameter of the insert. The 444 is a little lighter duty, whereas the 671 being thicker offers a little more capacity. So this allows you to really dial in which inserts are good for your particular application. It all goes all the way up to that P75H, as you can see, with a 12-inch minimum thickness, going to 24,000 pounds. So here's our utility recess members. I don't know, I think that's the last click there. We have 90-degree options that you can see. We'll have the insert facing straight down away from the surface, as well as 45-degree. You can see are angled to that 45-degree mark. We offer them in these reusable finishes, orange and blue urethane rubber. This is a relatively new product to us, our P75R. It's similar to the UA, but this is designed for retaining wall blocks and small slabs. This can be wet set using the void former, as you can see in the bottom right. Got multiple diameters and lengths. It's pretty easy to install. And just like the utility anchor, there's no proprietary lifting hardware that's required. It's also tested with our Fleet Lift lifting hardware as well. Here's another chart just showing some of the sizing data and diagrams of kind of how to custom pick your P75R. Just like the others, it'll show you the different lengths, the different diameters, and the loading data there. These can all be found in our Precast handbook. It's a great resource. We have PDFs available online of that handbook up to date. Now we have our P110 wire rope as part of the utility lifting group. This is a very economical option. You use it in facelift applications, meaning that this loop will be sticking straight up out of your product. It's not really designed to be lifted from the side and shear. These can be wet set or mucked into the surface of the concrete, so you can pour your product and then by hand, install these wire ropes in their proper locations. Once in the field and after lifting and placement, they can be cut off and refinished or left exposed. If this is going to be buried in some kind of a vault, let's say, it's not vital that you remove these. The galvanized rope does reduce rusting, and the middle clamp is about there right at the midpoint. And this A, helps it keep its shape, and B, helps you get the right embedment depth and kind of eyeball how much you've wet set into the product. This, again, like all of our other utility anchors, uses a standard hook or clevis. Just make sure that for these, that the diameter of the hook is twice the rope diameter. These products here come in, I believe, 9 standard sizes. Oh, it says right there, 9 standard sizes, all the way up to 20,000 pounds safe working load. I will show you, we see this chart here again with loading data, but what I'll point to is for these P110s, on the bottom of that chart, you can see each one is fitted with a plastic color-coded tag. So let's say in your facility, you have 3 standards that you use. That color-coded tag will easily allow you to make sure that the right wire rope is going into the right product. So that's kind of it. As we said, it's a very broad overview of some of our systems. The threaded inserts with our coils and ferrules, Swift Lift, Fleet Lift, and utility anchors. As I mentioned, we have plenty of resources online for you to peruse. You have us as resources at my TSR self, as well as my counterparts in the Central and the West, your local dealer sales manager. But do check out our website. The handbooks and tech data sheets are great resources and hopefully can address some of your questions. If not, you've got us here to help anytime. Give us a shout. With that, I'll hand it back over to Heidi. I think she wants to touch base on our monthly Superior Deal of the Month.
I do. Thanks, Taylor. So yeah, he talked about the resources here. We've got them all, the engineering. He referenced the Precast handbook a lot. It's a very good resource, as well as himself and his counterparts. We do have certification letters and training websites. So like I said, when we first started, you can go ahead and reach us at training@DaytonSuperior.com, and we can see about setting up a customized thing for you. All right. Also, if you want to know who to contact, just go on our DaytonSuperior.com and you can find the who to call, the contact place, and right there in the bottom right-hand corner is what it looks like. And go to the Dayton Superior map and you can find customer service, technical service reps like Taylor himself, as well as all of your other representatives for the sales organization. So getting to the actual February deal, I did want to touch base with you guys because February is precast deals. So we only talked about the lifting inserts. So you see there the P110, the P75, the P75R, and the P76 are all on special for this month as our Superior deal. In addition, we also have the Yeti Anchor as well as the Delta Tie. So contact your sales representative and you can find out what kind of specials we have in store for you. Oh, I failed to mention the P140 forged anchors. I always forget those. So that's exciting that those are on there as well. Okay. So I wanted to let you also know that for World of Concrete, we did a training promotion and it has continued on until March 31st. So what does that mean? Any of these 1 through 8 that you see here, threaded rebar splicing, intro to steel ply, all those, if you complete any of these half-hour sessions with a sales representative or Chuck or TSR, somebody from Dayton Superior basically, and you do that by March 31st, you can receive a one-time promotional savings on select accessory products to use in April. So really just sit through a training, learn some things, and you can get a discount on select accessories. So contact your sales representative for that as well. And finally, something near and dear to my heart, and I think Chuck's too, or at least he's gonna pretend for my sake. We wanna hear from you. So I sent out a a Training Tuesday survey, thank you, can't say my words. And you should have gotten that Friday. Another one will go out tomorrow in case you lost it and it didn't open it. I really want to hear back from you. I want to hear what you like, what you don't like, and give us some suggestions. Again, training at DaytonSuperior.com is the way to get us. And with that, is there any questions? I think Taylor did a great job. So if you want to go ahead and put anything in the chat functionality, and we can answer those questions for you. Also keep in mind, I keep saying it's Precast month, but we're actually going to the Precast show. We will have a booth there, so come by and see us. I'll have more information on that the next Training Tuesday. Next week we'll be on the Cody clip, so come hang out with us again. And if there are no questions, thank you, Taylor. I appreciate you joining and teaching us all about this. And all of you guys have a fantastic Tuesday. Till next time.
Great job, guys.
Thanks, Heidi.
Thank you.